6:30, so I think what we should do is, go ahead. Hi, guys.
Hey,
How are
Sue.
you?
How are
Hi,
you?
Hannah. Good. Hi. All right, so we're ready to go. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Hyde Park Town Board. Today's Monday, November 3rd. Please join me while we pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so I'd like to ask for a motion to enter executive session to interview a ZBA candidate.
I'll make a motion.
And a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll be back shortly because we have a public hearing at 7:05.
This way.
Sorry, Donna.
Oh,
I
no,
didn't mean to
no
push
problem
that
at all.
into you.
The counters.
Yeah, it seems, well, you know, when you have the extra chair.
Yeah.
No, wait, I'm sorry, Dave. Does somebody,
We need anything to bring in?
well, I'm just looking for, just,
for
I got it.
me.
Does
You
everybody
have?
have, guys, did everyone look at, see Justin's resume?
I didn't bring it, but I looked
Oh.
at
Make a motion?
And a second?
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
And no decision was made. Okay, so we have a public hearing scheduled on the 2015 preliminary budget, but we'll go ahead and workshop the budget first. We have our comptroller here, so want to come on up to the podium, TC? If you would, thank you.
Any questions on what we've been presented so far by the three major departments, or any concerns that you have?
Emily, would you like to go first? Councilwoman Svensson?
We are going to have, we are fine-tuning the benefit costs and some other items in there. So, as in the past, with the resolution, we'll have revisions at this point, not change anything on the bottom line. It'll be movements between accounts. And I will get that, when I get it finished, I'll get it to you before the adoption date. I guess the adoption date would be the 17th. Go ahead, Emily.
Oh, I really don't have any questions. I mean, I went through it, line by line, and I just want to compliment you on really creating a very tight budget here. You can see that the things that have risen are really things that are mandated and beyond our control. Health insurance and retirement costs that are in the contracts. Utilities that, we have no control over, retiree medical expenses. I mean, that's something that was negotiated years ago. So a lot of these things we really just have no control over. But the things that we do have control over, you've really got very tight, cutting back on training expenses and other things and just really trying to keep it to the bare minimum. And I think, we're really just still dealing with the reductions that are related to the economy. The sales tax, mortgage tax, and building permits are all down, and I think we just have to ride that out a little longer till, it starts to rise again. But I just wanted to say thank you for, really preserving all the essential services, the highway and police services, and the things that people rely on, and trying to keep things as tight as possible.
Well, thank you. As you can see, yeah, the budget is basically 65% labor and benefits, so
Right.
It's really mandated basically by union contracts. The town has an increased staff. I know you considered a couple of special positions in the building department, and you've you've postponed those decisions. So we have an increased staff in the police department. They're struggling to deal with the number that they have. So the town operates really at the minimum. I've done budgets before that are tight, but this is extremely tight. To stay within your a reasonable increase in the tax.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I went through it line by line like Emily, and, the recreation department is a small slice of the whole, of the whole budget, and, we offer a lot between the music in the parks and all the programs that we offer, and, I would love to be able to offer more, and we're not doing that. It's just unfortunate where we're at right now with the, sales tax and the mortgage tax, like Councilwoman Emily stated. And, it's unfortunate, but, we have an obligation to the town and to the residents, and I believe this is a fair and a good budget. So I also commend you for putting those numbers together and working with the department heads and with the supervisor.
Yeah, as we had discussion with especially the highway department, we haven't addressed road improvements over and above the CHIPS expenditures. He did do he did do 2 important roads this year, almost $200,000 in paving, but there's some drainage projects he wants to address. So probably in early 2015, we'll get together with the highway department and find out what kind of a list he has. He's going to develop a list of major drainage improvements. I know the town borrowed before my arrival, sometime in, I think, 2005 timeframe, they did some major drainage improvements and did some road reconstruction with bridges, et cetera. So mainly we've been relying on the CHIPS account, so it's
Yeah, we
unfortunate.
need to just keep looking for
Well,
outside money for
Right.
things, too.
And you've been, this town's been very fortunate that you've had some grants received from a lot of work on your part and the supervisor and the board members, so it's a shame we can't get some more grants for, DOT grants for transportation services, but.
Well, it seems, for grants, you kind of focus on special projects that are more capital improvements, but what's really driving our budget is the operating costs, right?
Right.
I mean, and they're really hard to find grants that will assist in that operating cost. I don't think they're really designed for that. It's,
And your department heads, the 3 major ones have been really cooperating with our requests.
Absolutely.
As you saw during their presentations. They didn't ask for anything unusual.
No, absolutely. And, there were some major purchases that we really had no other choice, with the trucks that Walt were running were way past their life expectancy, and actually they were past the point of even welding bodies back on them. The police department with over, 150, 170,000 miles on some of those vehicles. So, we had to make some tough decisions, and,
well, I mean, we're running a town of 35 square miles, $8 million budget, 22,000 people. You have to replace machinery.
You have to.
I mean, as far as the cars go, we struggle with this with the police as well as highway. It's what anybody struggles with in their own home is, do you keep putting money into an old car to try to keep it running? And, it's that struggle. So I think we did that for many years, and the equation became where it was disadvantageous to keep putting money into old vehicles. So,
and we even made new plans on doing all the repairs in-house. Before, we used to send them out to the county, so there was an expense to the town. I worked with Walt, and he decided to do a lot of the servicing and maintenance of the vehicles in-house, which saved us quite a bit of money. But like you stated, we got at
Yeah.
that point where we were just throwing good money into bad.
and, just to give a shout out to the county, they did, although I'm still smarting about the loss of sales tax, in case no one has heard that before. But, they did provide us with that shared service grant to buy the salt spreaders, which
Yes.
should really help us reduce operating costs, because that's what we're focusing on. And also to be able to, we use the excess to purchase,
That's good to hear.
equipment that will enable us to clear the sidewalks more expeditiously. So we have also been looking into a new program that the county started, to encourage towns to take over the plowing of county roads. But, you know, that's, we talked about it a little bit, and Joanne is kind of doing some analysis on whether that will actually provide the financial benefit that we seek. Without financial benefit, there's really no reason to do it. So we're trying to look at that really carefully.
And we're also working with the county with the water and sewer.
Yep, that's still, we're looking forward to the completion of that project.
Yes.
And it's been a long time, but it's complicated. So,
Before we run out of time, I just have one question for you, TC. In regards to the underperforming mortgage tax that you've talked about recently for this year, do you feel we've accurately projected for next year in the budget?
You know, it's the mortgage market's very difficult, you know, because you can have a spike. We have a figure of 290,000.
Yeah.
We started this year with 320, took it down to 290, and we're not going to make
down
290.
again.
We're going to make about 250, have a $40,000 shortfall. I'm a little nervous about the 290 figure for next year, but, you know, the people I talk to in the real estate market and then the mortgage market saying that we should start to see a pickup in this area.
Okay.
I'm not specific to the town of Hyde Park, I'm just saying general Hudson Valley region. So
Sure.
It's a real unknown. I mean, if you go back to your previous figures, at one time you were collecting 400,000 to 500,000.
yeah, we're dealing with a lot less revenue, and it's difficult. So,
Well,
I tell you, we have
yeah,
some,
let's talk.
Take your comments.
Okay, well, let's just talk, I just wanted to talk about this little statistical analysis I did this afternoon with the information that we received from the Shared Service Summit, and I did email it to everyone. I think it's pretty very interesting information that came out of this. So essentially, you know, I picked the towns that are close to Hyde Park in size, and I combined the village and the town, if they had such, because, you know, as Hyde Park does not have a village, it seemed like it would be a better comparison if you actually use apples to apples. So, and then this was actually provided by Jerry Benjamin, who is, I don't remember the entity he's with. CREO. So, and it was a analysis of spending and what the property tax levy decrease would be if people were to stay under the tax cap. There was a lot of information, but, you know, when we picked out the spending for the towns and created a per capita list, Hyde Park is by far spends the least per person out of any town out of Hyde Park, Fishkill, East Fishkill, LaGrange, Red Hook, Rhinebeck, and Wappingers. And it's not just by a little bit, it's fairly significant. You know, for our spending, Hyde Park, it's per capita $273 per person. Now, if you compare that with Rhinebeck, for example, this is for the levy, not spending, but for the levy. Rhinebeck's $369, but if you compare it for the actual spending, you know, if you compare, so the levy is that amount of money that has to be generated by taxes. The spending is what spending is without that being included. And so, but it's interesting because Rhinebeck was at a $964 per person spending, where Hyde Park we're at $467. So we're already spending about half what Rhinebeck is per person. So I think that there's a lot more information that we can analyze this and get more impact from the data. But I think it's very clear that there's not a lot of fat in Hyde Park. We're at the lowest per capita spending for the levy and just general spending. So I just thought that was pretty fascinating and shows that we really are already doing more with less.
Yeah, it shows that for relocating in this region of this mid-Hudson Valley, that Hyde Park is very advantageous.
It is. We're
Government spending and
and
tax levy.
and we all know that we have
Excluding
certain.
the school district, I don't know what the school district.
It must, so we'll kind of go back to that. I don't know if anybody had any other questions about
Oh,
it.
thank you for
I thought
doing
it
that. It
was
was
pretty
very eye-opening.
fascinating
Yeah.
stuff, so,
No, that's great.
all righty.
Okay, we'll
So
take
thank-
your comments on the.
Okay, thanks, TC,
Thank you,
yep.
TC.
So at this time, I'd like to ask the clerk to go ahead and read the public hearing notice.
Notice is hereby given that the Town Board of the Town of Hyde Park will conduct a public hearing on the third day of November 2014 at 7:05 PM at the Town Hall, Town of Hyde Park, 4383 Albany Post Road, Hyde Park, New York, for the purpose of holding a public hearing on the preliminary budget for said town for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2015. A copy of said preliminary budget is available at the office of the Town Clerk of the Town of Hyde Park, Town Hall, 4383 Albany Post Road, Hyde Park, New York, during the hours of 8:30 a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m., Monday through Friday, where it may be inspected by any interested person. The proposed salaries for the calendar year 2015 are as follows. Supervisor, $24,500. Councilperson, $7,500. Town Clerk, $44,000. Receiver of Taxes, $31,827. Town Justice, $31,000, and the Superintendent of Highways, $70,000. By order of the Town Board of the Town of Hyde Park, dated October 27th, 2014, Hyde Park, New York, Donna McGrogan, Town Clerk.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So do I need a motion to open the public hearing? Yes, may I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion?
And a second, please?
Second?
Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. So, Mrs. Martino, why don't you come on up?
Hello, Jeanette
Hi.
Martino, 13 Franklin Road. I just want to just share some ideas with you and some of my concerns. I share the same concern. I spoke about it last time about the mortgage, and it is depressing. And I hate to be the bearer of more depressing news, but, you know, as I looked at the budget as it was presented, and from the copy, the one thing that I was really struck with was that, you know, we don't have a sales revenue, we have a reduced mortgage rate, but the problem we also have is that if you go to the tax-exempt impact statement, we have over $400 million worth of equalized value properties that are not taxable. And that puts a really big burden on the rest of the taxpayers. And then I thought, okay, I started going into the Dutchess County tax rolls, and I started looking at what I paid last year for my 2014 town taxes. And I started looking for that number, and I started going into Rhinebeck and Pleasant Valley and Clinton, and what was the other one? LaGrange. And I started comparing what the same amount was equitable to as far as their full market value. And I was really depressed because Hyde Park value were so reduced that in looking at what the same town tax, what that market value was in other towns, my house value could have been a third more, up to double of market value, which as a taxpayer makes me concerned. Because as I begin to lose that equity in my, in my house value, it's where that's something that I will never regain again. And I think approaching the taxes is becoming very, very important. I know you're doing a great job, but I mean, there is really to be in a higher tax town sets you at a commercial disadvantage for commercial growth to attract other people in, because let's face it, profits drive commerce.
Mrs. Martin, I just have a question. Did you look, you looked through the budget?
Yes.
Do you have any suggestions on where we could cut?
Well, this is a hard thing because basically the budget itself is only a plan. You, as a legislative governing body, your policies and your resolutions and your actions really set the implementation of this plan into motion.
Right. But looking
So-
through the budget, was there anything that caught your eye, said, wow, they're really overspending there?
Not
Is there a line?
There were a few things. One is that I noticed that if you have a further decrease in your mortgage, at that point, for the revenues, you have not prioritized. Where are you going to draw from? What are you going to lose? And I haven't seen any discussion, and that basically is your decision, based on what your priorities are and what policies and what decisions you put into place. Another thing is that I'm really concerned about the Dock Street Bridge, and I know Mr. Plansky is working on that.
Thank you so much,
If we don't put money
Mrs.
aside for that,
Martina.
and...
That's your
I
3
didn't
minutes
say
are
that.
up.
For a part-time position, for $60,000, you're doing a great job, but as a taxpayer, that's what we like.
Well, I think that the last comptroller was, we'll just let that go. So, okay, we're grateful for your comments, and do we have anyone else? Doesn't look like it, so may I have a motion to go ahead and close the public hearing?
Motion to close?
And a second?
Wait, are we supposed to close it, or do we need to keep it? Or is
Oh,
that
for the
okay,
budget.
Warren?
Close the public hearing.
Okay,
Warren, can you bring your,
Sorry.
yeah, mhm. Okay.
No, you close the public hearing.
thank you, sorry.
So we have a second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. So with that, I don't know if anyone has anything that they would like to comment on before we move on to the public comment on resolutions only?
Should we add the other two resolutions?
Oh, that's a good point, yes.
Yeah.
We have two resolutions to add.
Thank you.
And
Thank
thank
you,
you, TC. I would like a motion to add, and a resolution to approve the 30-day liquor license waiver for the CIA, and approve the tax certiorari for Victory Lake.
Victory Lane.
Victory Lane. Motion to add at the dais?
And a second?
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so would anyone like to come on up and speak to any of the 4 resolutions before us? Okay, so moving on.
All right, Resolution 1131 of 2014, resolution setting public hearing on special district benefit assessment rolls.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
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 Resolution 113-2 of 2014, resolution approving budget revisions to Town of Hyde Park for the period of October 2014.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 113-3 of 2014, resolution to waive 30-day advanced notice of a liquor license for on-premises consumption at the Culinary Institute of America.
And do we have a second?
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye. And the last, Resolution 11-3-4, 2014, resolution authorizing the attorney to the town to sign a consent judgment settling the Victory Lake Realty Associates LLC versus Town of Hyde Park tax cert proceedings.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so may I go ahead and ask for a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn the meeting?
And second?
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
How do we make it?
Okay.
Good night.
Pretty good, but it's...
What do they want?
Assessor.